Hi everyone, welcome to Source Snack Break. I'm Ren with Source. Today is Wednesday, August 12th. We continue our amazing series of featuring folks who have donated materials to our great new flagship, I almost said restaurant, library. Sorry, we were talking about restaurants and how we wish we could go to them. Our new library here in Portland is just now finished, and we're chatting with all the people who donated materials to it. So I'm super excited to continue that. Before we get started, I'll explain a couple things about the webinar tool. You're all muted automatically, but you do have access to that live chat there on the right. So you can pop in your favorite emoji to try it out. You can also use the live chat to ask questions or comment, and we'll make sure we answer any questions you have, because we love answering questions. That's what we're here for. We'll also send you a recording of the webinar after we're done, so you can reference it later or send it to a friend. Today, I'm really excited. We're chatting with Brian from Rehau. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I am excellent. How are you doing? How's everybody else
Good.
doing? I know you can't answer
Good.
me, but I'm sure you're doing fine.
Exactly. So before we get started, can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here?
Yeah, so I've been involved in this industry for quite some time. I started off from the wood finish. Actually, I first started off working with Ralph Lauren paints
Oh, wow.
many years ago in the Bay Area. I introduced Ralph Lauren paints to Northern California, San Francisco area in the mid '90s. So that's my first interaction with architects and designers. I've always worked from the manufacturing side. I've never been on the other side of the table where where the real work is. And then I spent a lot of time on the wood finishes side, learning how to make stains and dyes and really build color. And then I've been working with Rehau for the last 5 years, focusing more on the architect and design specification side and trying to be the manager of materials and getting the word out there about our products.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about Rehau. What can you tell us about as the company? What's the history? Where are they from? Like,
Yeah.
give us the deets.
So Rehau, obviously, you could tell it's not a normal word to even say. It's pronounced many different ways, but Rehau is actually a place in Germany. So
Okay.
surprise, surprise. It's a small little town where they say nobody wants to go to, but it's a fantastic place. Rehau started in the late 40s. We actually started off making excuse the expression, the oh shit handles and Volkswagen bugs, the little straps on the side. That's how they started off. So that from that point on, they've actually built to a large worldwide company with over 22,000 employees. We manufacture windows. We make all the plastic components for Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Volkswagen, Nissan. Also, we do a lot of Nissan components also. We have the surfaces and edge banding side, which I'm a part of. And we also do piping. We invented PEX piping. Maybe a lot of you know what PEX is, but that was
Yeah.
in the 70s. We brought that to the market. We're still a privately held company, which is quite interesting. Um, our North American headquarters is in Leesburg, Virginia. We do a lot of our manufacturing in Montreal. We have a massive plant in Montreal. We have warehouses all over the world, and we have a half a dozen warehouses in North America too. So it's a great company to work for. I've worked for many companies before, but they're first and foremost, they're concerned about the employees. I mean, it's almost annoying at times. It's like, hey, we're fine. Just go ahead. We're fine. We're doing great. Don't worry about us. We just want to go do our job. But they really take care of their employees. They're very concerned about the environment. Their manufacturing processes is very concerned. They're trying to go to zero waste in their plants right now, which is very rare for a company of this size.
Yeah.
Germany, of course, leads the way from that. You know, they're on the forefront when it comes to manufacturing and reducing waste. So it's quite fantastic company to work for. And again, they're always on the forefront of innovation. That's what's really great about them.
Sweet. Well, and it sounds like they do basically everything. So
Yeah, almost everything. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it's
So
fun.
let's chat a little bit about the cabinetry, but also edge banding. Can you explain the difference and why designers need to know that?
Yeah, so essentially what we have to understand is, so Rehau really has three parts to it. Rehau Furniture, we call it Rehau Furniture. That's the division that we work with. So they have three components really when it comes to our materials. The first one is Rehau Edge Banding. Okay, edge banding is one part. The second component is our surfaces. We could say like the boards, the laminates, and then also the third component is our door component or finished goods, right? So the finished components. So the first one is edge banding. So edge banding is what Rehau is known by in our industry. Everybody knows that Rehau manufactures edge banding. We've been doing it since the 60s. Very long time. A lot of companies still, are quite familiar with self-edging, where they just cut the laminate and use that laminate for the edge banding, right? For the edge of the board. That's not effective. It's not as durable. Everybody knows how it ends up peeling over time.
Yep.
Mold builds up in the edges. It just looks nasty, right?
And
So
you get
Rehau,
that brown color that designers
yeah,
really hate.
that beautiful brown color that even bleach doesn't kill. So it's maybe it has a cure for cancer in there or whatever like that, but that's something edge banding overcomes that. And so with edge banding, I mean, typically start off with PVC edge banding, which PVC, as we know, is nasty. We try to move away from PVC. But a lot of companies, especially in America, still love PVC because it's cheap. The nice thing about Rehau is that our PVC, it doesn't have any nasty plasticizers in it. It's still considered PVC. It is polyvinyl chloride, but we don't have those nasty plasticizers that actually cause harm to people when you're disposing it. But our focus is really try to move people up to more environmentally friendly and better quality edge banding. There's commodity edge banding out there. The edge banding that you'll see, you can make in your backyard. It's not that difficult to make. You buy an extruder, you're in the edge banding business. We've moved technology up to ABS and polypropylene. Okay. ABS is becoming a more common material because it's much safer for the environment. It's easier to dispose, and polypropylene is even better. Polypropylene is a little bit more difficult to work with. Not all companies who have an edge bander can use it because it's kind of a unique material. So ABS is sort of the material that most companies are trying to switch over to, which is great because it's environmentally focused. It's a better material, and in addition, you can also have a ABS material that it has a product called laser edge. So it's a functional layer in the back of the ABS material, so you don't have to use glue anymore. We know glue is also nasty. Glue gets in the air. There's VOCs to it, and so the nice thing with this laser edge material is, one, there's zero glue used in the back of it, and two, it creates a zero line with your edge banding. So if you had edge banding on a board, the laser edge material, what happens is it actually is heated up with a laser or hot air, and it fuses to the board. So it's antibacterial, it's moisture resistant, and it gives you a look like a solid piece of material.
Well, anytime you get to use lasers, I mean, I'm for it, right?
It's super cool. I mean, and what's happened is the laser machines, there's less and less of them because they're $450,000 for one of these machines. So there's hot air banners that do essentially the same thing, but they're not as cool. I mean, it's about $100,000 for those, but hot air is just like blowing hot air on an edge banding. That's not that exciting. But the laser, you've got these lasers that move at a very fast pace, and it heats up the edge banding, and you see it literally like melting to the board.
So it gives you like that seamless look that designers are looking for.
Yeah. Absolutely seamless, right? So besides the look of it, like I said, moisture resistant and antibacterial, which is really big now. So if you're in a hospital environment, if you're in a restaurant environment, if you're in a bathroom, those areas where you've got a lot of high moisture, that's added benefit. But the other big thing about it, though, is the look of it is just fantastic, right? Yeah. So this material can be used, this type of edge banding can be used with just your regular laminates. We can have matches for Wilson Art and for Mica and Nevimar, all these big laminate companies. We have matches to all those companies with our edge banding, but also with laser edge banding specifically, which is really cool.
Hey, so are you seeing that, you said that some companies here in the United States still use PVC. A lot of our Pacific Northwest friends do not. Are you seeing that in Europe they're moving away from PVC? Like what are you?
Yeah. I mean, PVC has become a thing of a past in general. I mean, it's and what usually happens is this, and this is just with our industry. First, Europe does it, and then Canada does it, and then a couple years later, we think about it. Then California does it. Then New York and New Jersey, and then everybody else does. Luckily, Oregon and Washington, I think from a specification side, we're a little bit ahead of the curve on this. But the biggest thing is just educating people on the material, and that's the hardest part. Like, I mean, I think people say, oh, there's an alternative to PVC edge banding, right? So so I think you're definitely seeing that trend happening, and also you're seeing a trend in better quality edge banding. They realize, wow, it only costs 5 cents more per 100 foot to use better quality edge banding. Why wouldn't I use this, right?
Yeah, so it makes that case for you.
It's a big deal. So
Sweet. So let's talk about the surfaces when it comes to which are like the door parts, right?
Yeah. So we have, like I said, we have edge banding, which is one part of it. And with our edge banding, we'll send you a link later on about with our website. But you can go on our website to our marketplace, and you can order samples right from the marketplace. You can order 12-inch samples. They're shipped directly to you. If you're trying to do a job or trying to match up something, you go on our marketplace and you can actually just order it, and the samples can be shipped to you directly. But the edge banding is one part of it. The other side of it is our surfaces, right? So Rehau, about 15 years ago, we decided that we're making so much edge banding for all these companies that make surfaces that we could do it ourselves. We're a big polymer company. So we said, let's start making material ourselves. And so we have multiple types of materials that we use. And what we're seeing is in the past, so many designers and architects are familiar with laminate, right? The
Mm-hmm.
Wilson art. So for hundreds of years, we've been specifying laminate, right? Which is nice. It looks good. It gives you a good look. But this is like laminate on steroids. It's a massive step up. The technology, the process, it gives you a completely different look. And really the whole idea in Germany is, Germany and Italy, the whole idea of this material was to replace the painting of material, right? Because what happens is you've got a big, huge cabinet shop or a millwork shop, and everything gets produced, and then there's a bottleneck at the paint booth where they paint
Mm-hmm.
everything, right? The problem with the paint booth also is that it's expensive. It also emits a lot of VOCs in the air, right? And the process takes a very long time, so it adds a lot of lead time onto things. So
Okay.
what they've decided is let's take that process in-house and make laid up board material that can be edge banded with higher quality edge banding to give you the exact same look as you would if you had a painted surface. Okay, so we have multiple products in this realm. So the first product we have a standard high gloss product called Brilliant. It's an acrylic product. It's a double-sided high gloss material, really high gloss. It's a 90-degree gloss, which is like higher gloss than most paints, okay? Which is cool. And the nice thing about the Brilliant product is that you can get a laser edge banded, you can get doors made out of it, you can get floating shelves made out of this material. Really cool stuff. The problem is high gloss is sort of fading a little bit, right? High
Is
gloss
it?
is good. Yeah, I would say 3 years ago, high gloss hit its peak and now it's taken a big dive, right?
Okay.
But it's nice in like when you got high-rise condominiums or small enclosed spaces where you want to make it feel bigger, high
Yeah.
gloss is perfect for that, right? So what we're seeing more now is we're seeing more matte finishes, super matte products, okay? And with super matte products, we have two products. One is called Ravissio Noir and one is called Ravissio Matte. And Ravissio Noir is I said steroids. This is double steroids. This is like off the charts. This is like Arnold Schwarzenegger style matte finish. It can be used for horizontal surfaces. It can be used for vertical surfaces. You could put you could put a pan of hot water on this material. It's not going to affect it.
Wow.
You can scratch it and it heals itself. It's a double-sided material. We have it in 5-piece doors. We have it in slab doors, and we have it in board material and laminate. Right. So it's a fantastic product. It's a super matte product. It's ultra matte. There's no reflective value whatsoever. It's less than 5 degree, which is you can't have a type of gloss when it comes to paint. So the look of it is amazing. It feels very soft to touch, and so it has zero reflective value to it whatsoever, and it's as flat as can be. So this material is
like the fingerprints don't show up as much on it.
Yeah, it's anti-fingerprint. When you rub your finger across it, nothing's left. If you take a key to it and you rub it up against it, it doesn't even leave a mark.
Wow.
I had a situation where I had a sample in front of a cabinet shop, and he goes, "I don't believe that this is as durable as you said it is." So he took out his hunting knife, and I'm not kidding you. This is in Seattle, not Portland. Took out his hunting knife and dug into the board, and he's like, "It's scratched." I'm like, "Well, you dug into the MDF. I mean, the laminate is 1 millimeter thick, right? But he dug past the laminate, so he had his guy go out in the shop, and we could actually some of the material can be healed actually." He took a wet paper towel. He rubbed the iron across the scratch, and it dissolved away.
Wow.
So it's a self-healing product also. So it's quite fantastic. It's quite unique. There's really nothing like it in the market. There's a product called Phoenix that's in the market that's similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
But the materials changed. Formica actually is selling for Phoenix now, which is great. But this material is it's a step above it, you would say. Phoenix is sort of like the flagship product that did a fantastic job, but it's a little bit different now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fantastic product. We have another product called Ravissio Matte, which is more of a price point. If you have to have something that is value engineered, the
Yeah.
Ravissio Matte is a product where it's a little less expensive. The colors are more limited, but it's perfect for if you have multi-family projects or you just have something that's going to be more price sensitive. We have an alternative to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's chat about like when it comes to designing casework.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say this, but in my day, casework came in like 3-inch box chunks. Do you remember those days?
Oh yeah. You don't seem old enough to remember that.
Right? We've come a long way. So what should designers know when it comes to sort of specifying and designing casework, especially now that we have now broken out of the 3-inch box restriction? How do you what should designers keep in mind? What do you tell them when it comes to designing casework, which is something I think that scares a lot of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because it's the unknown, right? And I think there's so much limitations in the past. Like I said in the beginning, there was a time where people cut laminate, and that would be their edge banding, right? And so I think this is a segment where a lot of architects and designers are really unfamiliar with, right? I mean, there's so many great. You look at the. I mean, I look at the samples, all the carpet samples, all the great wall coverings, and all that. It's like, wow, you're experts in this. But when it comes to caseworks, it's like, I'm just going to leave that up to my cabinet shop, or I'm just going to leave this up to the contractor. I'm just going to let them decide, right?
Yeah.
You know, my view changed on this 4 years ago when I went to KBIS and I saw designers walking around with the guys with the big suspenders next to them. Like, there's your cabinet shop, your traditional cabinet shop next to the designer, and they're walking through KBIS. I never saw cabinet shops walk through KBIS in the past, right? So things have changed, the mindset have changed. And so with that, the technology is changing. Okay, so we have related to our surfaces, we have a program, it's called the Door Portal, right? The Door Portal allows designers and architects to go in and to design and specify material, and it shows them the cost right in front of them, right?
Oh, nice.
And then, so it's really nice. You can show your sizes, show the material you want, the banding you want, and it shows us the pricing you would want in general. Really, the only limitation I would say to answer your question is the size of the boards, right? You can't say, okay, I want a 12-sheet, 12-foot long sheet here to do this wall. Well, that's not always possible, but what parameters do I need to work in? And I think the technology really helps people hone in on that type of thing.
Awesome.
And it also depends on your client, right? Casework can vary from, hey, I want the cheapest melamine possible to I want something as high end as, like in your picture that's one of our wood grains called Terra, right? So there's so many variables involved, but I think you'll see, with the surfaces that are available today, that's evolving so much nicer, and I think it makes it easier for designers when they're building casework.
Got it. So they could pick the door type, the look of it.
Yeah.
They can pick the, like what the drawer configuration is.
Yep, absolutely.
They can work with you on what material the whole thing is made out of.
Yeah,
and
it's actually
a fully custom thing.
Online, they can do the whole thing. So we do the doors. So the architects and designers, they need to use whoever their contractor is or whoever their cabinet shop or millwork shop is. And that person will actually, they can go in there, they can design their whole caseworks with this, their end panels, toe kicks, floating shelves, the doors completely, and they can hold that in as a bid for themselves. And we actually have designer pricing in there. Cabinet shop pricing, the millwork shop and cabinet shop pricing is obviously lower because they're going to put their markup on top of it. So we give an estimate of what that markup would be. So what can happen is the designer has that information, and they can actually send that to the cabinet shop and say, here's my bid. Upload that into your portal and automatically populate everything for them.
Nice.
It's a really cool program, and it makes their lives a lot easier.
So what are you seeing in terms of like the cool things in casework? High gloss is maybe coming down, but like, what are the things that you're seeing in terms of style, look? Like, what is the trend?
This is a great picture for that. If you see in the bottom here, so this is actually a kitchen up here in Seattle. One of my designers helped design this, and what you're seeing is a lot of mixed material. Mixed material is big. I mean, like I said, complete high gloss kitchens are sort of fading away, but you see accents used with high gloss, right? The left-hand side, you see that nice, I mean, I would never design red in anything, but you see how nice this accent is to use red in this kitchen. And so you're seeing a high gloss in conjunction with wood grain, right? And the wood grains used there's a horizontal grain matching along with floating shelves, right? So you've got, 3 different aspects here. You got the slab doors, floating shelves, and then the high gloss material. So we're seeing a lot of mixed material. Wood grain super mats, I would say, is leading it. Accents with metals. We got like different metal surfaces also. Accents with the high gloss, things like that, which are really trying to make things pop and make it more custom. And so I think that's what I'm seeing as far as the trends going.
Awesome. And it does feel a little bit sometimes like the trends here in casework start in Europe, where they have a much more streamlined look when it comes to especially residential casework. Is that what you see, that like what starts over there comes over here?
And I think in the past it was almost a 10-year window. I think the window is much shorter now. I think it's 1 to 2 years you'll see it. Okay. There's a show that we have in Germany. It's one of the biggest shows in the world, and literally that's where our buyers go to. And the good thing is, being a German company, we have Italian offices we work with also. So I think the window's much shorter than it was in the past. The difference is getting the public interested in it, right? Like, we've got this wood grain where it took, people like wood. People like the feel of wood, they like the smell of wood. but then you start to talk to them about it. It takes time for them to switch over. Once they understand the benefits of it, like, oh yes, you're not cutting down trees, but you have the same look as you would if you were using real wood. So yeah, I think it takes a good 1 to 2 years for that to happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, once we're able to leave our homes, we'll go over to Germany, to Rehau, and we'll take a look at it. Yeah, and then bring it over. Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome.
That's the whole goal.
Well, designers, it doesn't look like anybody has any questions, probably because I asked all of them.
Yes.
If you'd like to register for another snack break, you can smash that register now button. We have a bunch lined up for you already. And in the meantime, Brian, this was awesome. It sounds like Casework is way more flexible these days and should be less intimidating. The designers should feel free to sort of play with it and really go wild. Yeah,
absolutely. And for everybody know, we have some samples also. You can also work with Source on this, but we also have some nice samples too, folders that have all the colors in it too. So we can definitely order those online if necessary.
Yeah, designers, you can do that on our website. Oh, I forgot to go to the last page. Oh my gosh, look at that. I was so wrapped up in these high gloss bright red cabinetry. I got so excited. Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. It was great chatting with you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, we'll see you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.